Explosive talking, top rope walking, ultimate Xing, serious flexing, never be vague with your boy Craig, and opinion mixing from Pete to Nixon, keep doing things in an impactful way, bloody nonsense as the Brits say, talking bloody nonsense.
Yes, it's me, it's the MIC, Craig, aka Mr. Impact. Join as always, brother, one and only Peter Nixon. This is Talking Bloody Nonsense right here on the TNA IW channel. It's a new week, it's a new Impact, but first things first, Nixon, how's it going?
All good here, mate. Just been busy packing. I'm off to Prague this weekend for a stag do. Should be a lot of fun. Not much else to report. I've got a dog right next to me. Say hello, Dinky. Dinky, hello. Dinky, hello.
Nothing.
Rude, isn't it?
Anywho, so before we get into the normal what we're going to talk about tonight, or just give everyone a quick rundown of the subheadings before we get into the main headline. We'll go on tap tonight. We have Mia Yim retiring with Impact. Of course, the re-preview of Impact on Access TV from last week and this week. And for the final 10, we'll take a little look into the differences between local intimate wrestling and the stuff we see on TV every week. We'll have a in-depth look on that a little bit for the final 10. But without any further ado, let's get into our main headline. For the first time, what feels like quite a long time, we're covering some British wrestling.
Yeah.
With although it's kind of mixed, we have coming in September for 3 days. GCW and TNT Extreme Wrestling will be teaming up in Liverpool for 3 days from the 15th, 16th, and 17th of September. And WrestleCarnival announced for their first anniversary show on the 7th of August in Nottingham, WrestleCarnival will be teaming with Pro Wrestling Noah. I mean, I was fortunate to be at this show, at the WrestleCarnival show where they announced this. And full disclosure, the crowd, it was kind of a bad night for WrestleCarnival. They had a lot of mishaps, a lot of talent dropping out. Tickets weren't selling very well. And to top it all off, the second rope snapped. The turnbuckle just completely knackered for the rest of the show. But they announced this, and they got a pretty decent pop from most of the fans in attendance. But let's get your thoughts on obviously TNT, GCW coming over, and Noah coming over to the UK. See, does it help the scene? What's your take on all of it? Is good thing, positive, negative? What's your take on this?
I think anytime two promotions team up, it's always a good thing, because it gives the fans fresh matchups, potentially dream matchups. It's cross promotion, so you're potentially getting another set of eyes, several sets of eyes on a different promotion through promoting through the partner promotion. I think it's really cool. TNT and GCW, I think are very suited. TNT do quite a bit of the blood and guts style, but they also do a lot of the indie-rific wrestling, which GCW, it's a deathmatch company, but they do a lot of the high flying and the wrestling side of things, but also dream matchups you never thought you'd see. So I think it's a great pairing. A good friend of mine, Roughneck, he has been, I don't know if he still is, he's been a big part of TNT throughout the years, so I hope he gets an opportunity to do something cool with one of the GCW guys.
Yeah, and I completely agree. TNT and GCW are very well suited. Obviously TNT here in the UK have a DOA tournament, which is always a lot of fun. A tournament of death. It's still a company I haven't attended yet, but it's definitely one on top of my list. They've got some incredible talent from Clint Margera, who, for me, in my opinion, is the best deathmatch wrestler in the UK. In my opinion, I think he's phenomenal at what he does, and will be very suited to. I mean, he recently had a death match against Alex Colon, and I think this, if death match is your thing, go and seek this match out, because holy shitballs. So all the potential matches you have for this card, and it's great. I mean, you can have potentially we'll see Session Moth Martina on the GCW and the GCW lot, which would be incredible. I particularly want to see Session Moth versus Matt Cardona. I think that's a match I'm desperate to see. After GCW TNT quickly. Kamikaze's anniversary show, it's Session Moth Martina versus Charles Crowley, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Yeah, that the two very different characters. That'd be cool.
I'm front row for it as well, which I'm even more excited about. But going on to the WrestleCarnival side, as I mentioned before, I was at the show, the Hunt, where this was announced, and as I say, it wasn't. I mean, tickets were still on sale before the show even started. I think they got about. I think there was 82% of tickets left last time I checked for went to the show, which is not ideal, but it was still a very solid show. I mean, the main event was Charles Crowley versus Max the Impaler.
Yeah.
The WrestleCarnival title in a no DQ match, which was great. And you can go on my social media and find some pictures of that. And they were pretty close to me. Like I had to move back quite a bit. But I think WrestleCarnival and Noah is an incredible partnership as well. WrestleCarnival, Gary Ward has done a great job. That's company up in a year. He's already got strong links with Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling, so I'm excited about this one, and I will definitely be going to it. Oh, as for the WrestleCarnival show itself, the talent on it was great. You know, had Jetta and Charlie Morgan teaming up against Ivy and Emerson Jane.
Yeah,
fun tag match. You had Joe Hendry against Judas Gray in his second ever match.
Oh right.
And like he's a good talent from what I've seen in that segment. And other things, Will Cruz was involved in a tag match, unfortunately Will Cruz was the one who broke the second rope. So I think it was supposed to do a back body drop from the second rope, and then the rope just snapped.
Oof.
And completely like that's when they had to take their intermission. It was supposed to be the next match after, but they had to take it there and then, because I'm pretty sure the turnbuckle was knackered for the rest of the show. But I'm really excited for this one because it felt like maybe it's just my perspective from being in the crowd. It felt like there's quite a few fans who weren't necessarily as into wrestling. I think they saw, it's wrestling, it's tickets for a tenner, let's go. No, it's fair enough. You want to get people in?
Yeah,
I'm cool with that. But you just know WrestleCarnival and Noah, that's going to attract a lot of die-hard wrestling fans, proper hardcore, because people they can bring over. But if Kojima's currently working with New Japan, with versus Noah, yeah, and you've obviously maybe not, but you've got the Great Muta. They've got, I think the current tag team champions, or one half of the current tag team champions is Michael Elgin, but that's, don't know what's going to happen with that.
Marufuji, Naomichi Marufuji, he works for Noah, right?
Marufuji, yeah, a big staple of them. Chris Ridgway, of course, he's a big part of them now. There's so many people, and I'm really excited to go to the show. I wasn't intending to go to this previous show, The Hunt, but I saw tickets for a tenner, and I thought if I can get a lift down there, let's go.
Yeah.
I went. I'd already booked my ticket for the show afterwards in Coventry. Ringmasters. The main of the kind of main events. Charles Crowley is defending his WrestleCarnival Championship against Axel Tischer, the former Alexander Wolf. But he also has the main event would either be Axel Tischer's in the main event would either be between Axel Tischer and Charles Crowley, or Axel Tischer and Scotty Tahoe, whoever wins earlier in the night. So it's Crowley versus Scotty Tahoe, which is going to be phenomenal.
That would be cool. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, Charles Crowley is one of the best in the scene at the minute. He's so entertaining and just finding his stride, and can only get better from here, which I'm really excited about. Some incredible people, and also I'm fortunate enough to meet Jetta and Charlie Morgan, as well as Will Cruz, and said hello to Chantal Jordan like I always do. So it was a fun show, and the only show I've been to that sell food. It's the only wrestling company independent promotion that has food ready to buy, and the cheapest bottle of water I've ever gotten at a wrestling event as well. £1 for a bottle of water, which is usually like 3 or 4. So I'm happy.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Jetta and Charlie Morgan. So I don't think I told you this. I was meant to wrestle for DOA this past Saturday in Bury St Edmunds. Unfortunately, the show got cancelled. As we know, there's a bit of a I don't know if crisis is the right word, but the cost of living right now has doubled for most people. So people just can't afford the luxury of going to live entertainment. So yeah, wrestling shows are suffering at the moment. Anyway, Pro Wrestling East still went on, and a lot of the fans that would have gone to DOA went over to PWE. So at least wrestling, benefited somewhat. Yeah. But Charlie Morgan is a good friend of mine. We started training on the very same day, May 6th, 2011. So we've been friends for over 10 years. So I went to Pro Wrestling East. I sat in the crowd, and I sat with some of my friends who would have gone to the DOA show, and but Charlie Morgan didn't know I would be in the crowd. So it was a fun little moment where she spotted me. I was like, "Oh," and pointed me out. So that was cool. Really, really good show, Pro Wrestling East. Yeah. We had a great time. Me and Kaylee went with the Cleft Movement. Got to shout them out. And the main event was Man Like Doris against the Chapman brothers, Mad Kurt and Harry Chapman.
Nice.
So much fun. Very, very different main event to anything you'd see anywhere else in the country. That was really, really cool. The match of the night was someone who I wrestled years ago under a different gimmick. His name now is Truman Roswell. He does a conspiracy theory gimmick. It's so good, and he plays it up so well. He wrestled Scotty Rorks, and they had an absolute banger. And I was really pleased that Truman Roswell got to show off his stuff to a new audience and gain a shitload more fans. Yeah. So yeah, that was my experience with independent wrestling over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun going to shows, especially when you don't know you're going to, when you haven't thought about going to that show when it was announced before. Yeah, if I can get there, I'll go type thing. Yeah. And it's always nice going to an impromptu show. So I've got next 3 months. I've got 2 more shows in 2 months. I'm hoping to get to the Kamikaze dojo show, which is their students, because I seem to be getting quite friendly on Twitter with the influence, as they're now in Kamikaze Pro. Hassan and Fergus Adderley. They have the Influence 24/7 championship, and I'm trying to get that title. I'm going after that title. That's what I'm coming for. So hopefully I can win a title.
Maybe they could win the NXT championship off you.
Yeah, maybe if everyone want to swap. Right, I'll put mine on the line. But I've got 3. I've got the US and IC title there as well. So fantastic. I'll put all mine on the line just for that one. No, it's always just fun going to wrestling. always is, because a good group of people, a good group, just have a laugh, enjoy some wrestling. But now let's take a walk on over to the Impact side of the street, and we'll take a look at Mia Yim, who returned at Under Siege to to a very, very positive reaction from the online and the fans in attendance. And then recently did an interview for Fightful, I believe, with Denise Salcedo, who is crushing it at the minute. And she gave a candid open interview about her time in NXT and her decision in coming to Impact Wrestling. It's probably well known that Gail Kim played a big part in bringing Mia Yim back to Impact. And from what I've read of the transcript of the interview, I haven't actually watched it, but I've read most of the articles about it. Mia Yim wasn't sure if she wanted to return to wrestling or not, but eventually decided, with the help of Gail Kim, to give it a go, see how it goes. She's never worked with Scott D'Amore before, so Gail was the catalyst in bringing her into Impact again, saying that Mia Yim wants to be known as Mia Yim when she does retire. She wants to be remembered for Mia Yim and not as a manager of a faction, etc., etc.
Yeah, or a reckoning with a mask and or the dollhouse.
I feel like the dollhouse was slightly better than Retribution.
Yeah,
even though Retribution could have been something spectacular. Retribution could have been really good, but hey ho, it's WWE booking. So, but Mia Yim also mentioned that she's not just yet, but she wants to retire with Impact Wrestling. And given the story that came out a week or so ago, a couple weeks ago now, Mia Yim's only signed up until Bound for Glory. I wonder if that means she will be sticking around after Bound for Glory. What's your take on it? Because it's interesting that when someone says they want to retire at a certain place because they're happy with where they are. I mean, especially coming out of WWE in that whole bubble, to know you want to retire with Impact Wrestling, who, if we, I'm biased, open, they don't get a lot of viewership, although the viewership did rise this week, but TV ratings being jack shit.
Yeah.
To say that they want to stay with Impact until their career is over, that's a big deal for a company who is nearly dead in the water 5-6 years ago. So, what's your take on that? Because it's interesting, given that the reports of a time with Impact running up at Bound for Glory.
Yeah, I mean, you think 5 or 6 years ago, when it was dead in the water, when Mia Yim was there, so she's seen the best and the worst of Impact Wrestling in terms of its popularity and the backstage morale and the politics and everything. I think it's awesome that Mia is so happy right now in Impact Wrestling that she said she's willing to stay there until she retires. That's awesome. I mean, who knows how long that could be? I don't know Mia's age, or how long she intends to stay in the wrestling business. But Mia Yim could have very easily gone with her husband to AEW, but she would have just been another wrestler on the roster who would just get lost in the shuffle, same as pretty much everyone else. They just brought in Toni Storm, and although she's in the Owen Hart tournament, very, very little fanfare for Toni Storm. Whereas Mia Yim coming back to Impact Wrestling means a hell of a lot more than if she would have gone to AEW. I'm sure she would have got more money for AEW, but if Keith Lee is over there making the big bucks and Mia Yim can just do what she loves, but I'm sure she gets paid a good wage for Impact. But yeah, I'm sure they're living comfortably.
Yeah.
And you know that she could be Knockouts champion again. She will have excellent matches with the best roster in the world, as we say every week. Not just the best women's roster, the best roster in the world.
Yes.
So yeah, I think she's doing the right thing, and as long as she's happy, fantastic. Fair play to her.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You know, she could have easily, like I said, gone to AEW and been in the women's division, getting a lot more attention. Let's be fair, we've got more eyes on her, even though she doesn't necessarily need it. Especially, you mentioned the money side of stuff. Earning quite a bit from her Twitch streams, so I'm guessing that's a factor. Because especially we mentioned Toni Storm there. She's another one who doesn't necessarily need the money because of how much she's earning on OnlyFans. I mean, I think in the first 24 hours she earned about 20 grand, I think, which is, get that money, get it. But as for Mia wanting to stay with Impact until she feels like her career is over, that is huge. It may seem like such just a saying that, but may not actually happen. But actually saying it is huge. I can't imagine she'd have gone on the interview and said that without Impact knowing at least. Impact must know what her intentions are, or at least Gail Kim must have known what the intentions are. And obviously, we don't know how long she's sticking around for. But I imagine when she said that not yet about retiring, I can see it going past Bound for Glory.
Oh yeah,
easily. She's an incredible talent, and as you mentioned, she's seen the best and worst of Impact. But even when in 2017, 2015, around that time, it wasn't the best, but Miriam and Jody, she was then, and Rosemary had an incredible feud over the Knockouts title. That the Monsters Ball, the last Knockout Standing, the Steel Cage match, all great stuff. So, and now she's in with this roster, who are the best roster in the world. That's it is. You look at it now. That's with Mia Yim. You've got Jordan Grace, Deonna Purrazzo, Ty Valkyrie, kind of there for a little bit. Tasha Steelz, who's only getting better as Knockouts World Champion. It's a great thing that she wants to stick around, and will have a great rest of her career there. Because Impact, obviously it's well established that Impact don't have the mega bucks, but have enough to make wrestlers comfortable. And I know Anthem have been acquiring so many other companies and ventures. Like I just announced their movie film distributors have made a documentary on Bruno Sammartino, which is going to be great. So I think, yes, she could have gone to AEW, and let's be realistic, had a few months buzz, and then kind of just float down the card, eventually maybe ending up on Dark. So we don't know, but that seems to be a pattern for a lot of wrestlers when signing for AEW. They'll come into a lot of fanfare, although Toni Storm probably being the exception to that rule. And then just I think Keith Lee, I'm not even sure what he's doing at the minute. I think he's teaming with Shane Strickland. That's
right. They've got a three-way tag title match at the pay-per-view this weekend.
Okay, that's something. There's a Jungle Boy and
Luchasaurus and Team Taz, Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. I mean, Double or Nothing's going to be a good show. I'm going to watch it when I'm back from Prague. And that match, it will be awesome. So yeah, no negativity towards AEW, although Tony Khan, he's almost like Vince McMahon on crack.
Yeah.
You know, you hear all these stories about Vince. You know, once he's squeezed every bit of money from you, he'll just discard you like a used toy. It's exactly what Tony Khan is doing.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, I mean, obviously we went into Tony Khan a bit more depth last week, I believe. I mean, the wild claims he tends to make, and the guy needs to just chill a bit and run his wrestling company. Like we say it a lot, but he does. Just chill out, run your company. You don't have to get yourself over or try to get yourself over.
Yeah,
you're the boss. You're not talent.
Exactly.
Just chill a bit.
In the immortal words of Eric Bischoff, shut up and wrestle.
Yes, but any hoozles. So yet Mia Yim wants him to stay with Impact until her career has come to an end. Love that because it's showing that Impact are here to give a good old fight and can have the talent's trust once again. Which again, if we go back 5 to 10 years, it's been a long old trek back to the top, back to where the position they are at now. Working in New Japan, having talent trust them again, paying the talent. So it's all good, and I'm excited to see what Mia Yim does in the final years of her career at Impact. Let's have it. But now we'll go on over to that preview. We'll start off with the review this time, like we always do. Don't want to say this time. Yeah, we started off with an X Division Ultimate X qualifying match. Speedball Mike Bailey versus Laredo Kid. What do you think of this one? I friggin' loved it, although the finish was a bit sus.
Yeah, hell of a match. We knew it would be, and we kind of knew the result. It would be nice to see Laredo Kid actually get a win every now and then, considering he's the AAA cruiserweight champion.
Yeah, would be cool.
But yeah, as we've said previously, this is Speedball's time. 99% he's going to take the title at Slammiversary.
Yes, I love this match so much. Since Speedball, I've been a fan of Speedball Bailey for years, but I mean, apologies, my phone keeps going crazy. It's the TNIW chat.
Yeah, I'm getting those.
Yeah, it's going crazy.
Love you guys.
Yeah, but we're recording here. Yes. Yeah. What do you think of the finish of the Speedball Bailey and the Laredo Kid match? We'll see.
You're gonna have to remind me what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna have to. I can't. I mean, I'll watch it on the Friday morning, and I've had several sleeps since then.
From what I haven't watched it recently, but from what I remember, Laredo Bailey hit his ultimate weapon.
Yeah.
From second rope, and or maybe he rolled him up. I can't remember which. But Laredo Kid's leg was under the rope as Bailey pinned him, and the referee counted it. I don't know if that was supposed to happen. Funny thing is, I went on the Impact website to get results written down, and it said in the results, Laredo Kid defeats Speedball Matt Bailey. So that's a complete balls up by Impact, or they have or they know something we don't. Yeah, Laredo Kid defeats Speedball Matt Bailey, but obviously Speedball's in the Ultimate X.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: we don't look at spoilers here. Full disclosure. They could very well have done something at the Kissimmee, Florida tapings where they reversed that decision and had Laredo in Ultimate X, and then Speedball does something else at the pay-per-view. We don't know. I mean, as in you and I, Craig, we do not know. So
no, that's a clue.
That could have just been a big balls up on the Impact website.
Which is more than likely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't remember Laredo's foot being under the rope. Maybe they do make a bit at the tapings.
I mean, they mentioned it, but nothing seriously. Well, it's had deja vu. Oof, that's weird. Anywho, then we had 6 knockout tag action with Taya Valkyrie, Jordan Grace, and Mia Yim defeating Tasha Steelz, Deonna Purrazzo, and Savannah Evans. Decent match. I felt like it was solid. Tasha, for me, although she's a great knockout champion and they're only getting better, there were a few slip-ups, which, I mean, it's my OCD brain that's it's not landing right, but it could have been smoother, I felt like.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that about any wrestler, though.
Yeah, but I guess it's just like more awkward to watch when a move doesn't go right the first time and they try again. Like, but
you got to remember, the 3 wrestlers she was wrestling in that 6-woman match.
Yeah,
3 of the best wrestlers in the world. I've been saying for 2 or 3 years, Jordan Grace is the best wrestler in the world. And you put her in there with Taya Valkyrie, who's got so much experience, the AAA Reina de Reinas champion, and Mia Yim, who we've been talking about all episode. It's got to be daunting for Tasha Steelz, even though she is the Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion. She's still less experienced and less well known than those 3 wrestlers. So it's got to play with her mentally. So if she had a few slip ups, it's natural. We don't hold it against her, and can't wait to see the Queen of the Mountain match. But
it's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I do not expect Tasha to retain, unfortunately.
This whole thing is more than likely my OCD just driving me batshit, because if things aren't centered, lined up, it pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
But no, great match. I loved it. We had a locker room talk segment, which phenomenal. I mean, I'm not overly a fan of talk shows, but locker room talk is done right constantly. I'm not always a fan because they can seem to be quite carbon copy, cookie cutter, if you like. This one was really good, and just everything about Zicky Dice and Johnny Swinger, the Swing and Dice connection, is the best. Swinger being pushed in on that cart, phenomenal.
Love it. The gauntlet for the gold, where he bushwhacked in and out of the ring.
Yeah. I can't believe we didn't bring that up when we talked last week. But just incredible. We had a phenomenal promo from Eric Young, showing exactly why he deserves to be in this main event. It was never really up for debate.
Yeah. So we spoke about that last week. He basically, I reckon he watched our episode and then did the promo.
Well, we can only hope. I think we kind of got a glimpse in what's in the box, the TNA box. A lot of memories from which I love that promo so much. That promo package, fucking incredible.
Yeah. I hope it's giving hints at who or what we might see at Slammiversary.
Yeah, I cannot wait. Then we had a great tag team match between the Good Brothers and OGK. The Good Brothers picking up the win. A really, really good tag match, and probably one of the best I've seen from the Good Brothers since they've arrived.
I think this was my favourite thing on the show, because the action was tremendous. I love the OGK. I think they're so underrated and, dare I say, underused by Impact. I think they should have been the tag team champions after Rebellion, but I mean they're bringing in the Briscoes, so it all makes sense in that front. But the story they told in this match, because it's kind of 2 villain teams, with the Good Brothers kind of leading on the babyface side, where OGK were the full-on villains. But the stuff they did with Maria, where Mike speared his own wife, fantastic stuff. Because they present Maria as the valet, the manager, the brains behind Honor No More.
Yeah.
But we all know she's a wrestler. She's a trained wrestler, so she can take these bumps and make him look savage. So I love this match, and I love the finish. The gun start after the spear was absolutely brilliant.
So good. I think I can see getting OGK and maybe a couple of other teams against the Briscoes for the tag titles at Slammiversary. I think they'll be involved in the tag title match.
Okay.
At Slammiversary. I really do. We had a short and sweet match of Marsha Slamovich defeating Shauna Reed before finally, lights go down. It's Havoc face to face with Marsha, and we get that match this week on Impact. Finally, that's all I can say.
I've been saying on the Twitch chat during the pre-show for the pay-per-views, the reason I've never ranked Marsha in the top 10 on our rankings committee for the TNAIW family is because, she wins every week or every other week, but she hasn't beaten anyone. I need to see her wrestle, at legit competition, actual knockouts on the roster.
Yeah.
And who better to start with than, the biggest knockout on the roster? Because if and when Masha beats Havoc, that's a massive notch on her belt, and she could legit be a contender then for any championship.
Definitely. She's beaten a lot of people, but now she needs to beat a name.
Exactly.
Beat a name. Who knows what can happen? Then we went to the main event. Briscoes defeating Violent by Design to retain the Impact World Tag Team Championships. Great stuff. Didn't expect anything else from it. The face off between Josh and EY, great. And this week on Impact, we do get the VBD versus Briscoes and Josh Alexander. I thought finish was great. Of course, I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, Dina did beat the pin, which no real surprise.
No.
Although it felt like for a minute there that maybe VBD were actually going to win again. I kind of had a feeling they'd go in, especially because they Impact announced this match before the tapings took place. They announced that it will be Violent by Design will be taking on Briscoes and Josh Alexander. But I mean, this match starts going to be great. But match last week, really good. Briscoes are a great team, and I'm glad they're an Impact for a little bit longer at least. Yeah,
definitely. I think, they're in the top 3 best tag teams in the world right now. For me, it's the Briscoes, FTR, and the Young Bucks. And I'm sure I'll get flack for mentioning the Young Bucks in the best tag team debate, but come at me, I don't care. Yeah, the VBD and the Briscoes seem to have great chemistry, but the Briscoes have great chemistry with everyone. So I'm not surprised that the match was so good. It was just as good as the pay-per-view, the Under Siege match, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was great.
Looking forward to seeing this week, tonight on Impact, the 6-man tag. I'm thinking if Josh and Briscoes can get past VBD, you've still got Josh and EY, feuding for the world title, but the Briscoes can then move on to their next challenge.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe it's good old Max and Jeremy Buck.
Generation Me.
Anywho, that was the review of Impact on Access TV last week. Before we get into the preview, let's take a look at those power rankings from last week. Do you agree? Do you disagree? But first things first, let's take a look at who made it to number 1. It's time for those power rankings.
Number 10, Jordan Grace. Number 9, Sami Callihan. Number 8, World Champion Tasha Steeles. Number 7, Speedball Mike Bailey. And number 6, Bullet Club. Number 5, the HBAC Mia Yim. Number 4, Eric Young and BBD. Number 3, X Division Champion Ace Austin. Number 2, Tag Team Champions The Briscoes. Number 1, World Champion Josh Alexander.
And we're back. So now let's take a look at the preview for this week's Impact on Access TV. As I previously mentioned, we have Violent by Design taking on the Briscoes and Josh Alexander, World Tag Team Champions and the World Champion in the Briscoes and Josh Alexander. It's the Battle of the Futures Part 2, Battle of the Present. Chris Sabin versus Frankie Kazarian. I mean, fucking hell. Jordan Grace takes on Chelsea Green. In Ultimate X qualifier, I mean, we have Trey Miguel taking on Alex Shelley. Marsha Slamovich takes on Havoc. Shira and Raj Singh take on Bhupinder Gurjar and W. Morrissey in tag team action. And on BTI, Laredo Kid takes on Black Taurus. What are you looking forward to on that? I mean, it's where to start, really. But go on, take it away.
The battle of the underused AAA cruiserweights.
Yeah, BTI.
At least one of them will get a win this week.
Yeah, sure enough.
That should be a hell of a match, to be fair. BTI, it used to be so missable, didn't it? But they're churning out fantastic matches every week. It's now, top quality, unmissable television. I know most of it is a recap from last week's Impact Wrestling on Access, but yeah, I always watch the BTI match every week. I always watch Iceman's Intels.
You never know what he's gonna say, do you?
Yeah, he always comes out with something fun. But
you got to follow him now. You've got to follow him now.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Got to follow him.
I don't know if I do. I'm gonna have to double check that.
Sorry, he follows the channel. Follows the channel.
Jordan Grace and Chelsea Green should be a hell of a match. The 6-man tag we've already talked about. Trey Miguel and Alex Shelley. How can you miss this match?
Anyway,
very kind of similar styles in terms of, Shelley very quick. Trey we know is quick. They could both high fly. They can both do tech. I think it's going to be a great, not a clash of styles, but what's the term I want? They're almost mirror images of each other, so it's going to be cool to see them get in there and do their thing. I'm also interested to see who wins.
Yes.
Who goes into Ultimate X, because both of them realistically could be in this match.
Yeah, I have a claim to it for sure.
Yeah.
A claim.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a hell of a show, as it always is. What are you looking forward to, Craig?
Trey and Shelley for sure. I mean, this is going to be so good. But the TNA fan in me, it's Sabin and Kazarian. That's, I mean, totally out of the blue. Completely out of nowhere, this match did. Obviously, again, Impact announced it before the tapings even took place. So we kind of knew about it, but although when Sabin cut the promo last week, we knew the match was happening, but it almost got to the back of your mind. And then Sabin then challenges Frankie Kazarian. I'm not sure how this has happened. I'm really confused because obviously Kazarian did pop up in Impact a few months ago.
Whilst the Forbidden Door was still open.
Yeah, but now that door between Impact and AEW seems to be firmly shut. So I'm very curious. Maybe I'm trying to think of how this match has come about. Maybe Tony Khan is just being a nice person. Maybe that's just something we haven't seen, so we're a bit surprised by it. But
I think the link might be Tracy Brooks.
Yeah.
Because Tracy has been on Fight TV doing the alternate commentary for the pay-per-views with Lisa Marie and SoCal Val.
Yes.
I think, you know, she's been having a great time. She considers TNA her home. So maybe Kazarian is sort of, you know, empathizing with her. No, that's not the word I want. She's seen how much fun Tracy's having. Oh yeah, I want to get in on that.
Yeah, but it's extra confusing that because Kazarian just returned back to AEW after months away.
Mm.
You see, obviously, and is he a heel now? Is he a face because people don't like the Ty and Sammy stuff? So is he a heel? Is he a face? Like it's what's going to happen? What obviously that doesn't come into effect. That doesn't really affect Impact that much, but it's still very very confusing because if people in the crowd know AEW, this heel turn hadn't happened yet.
Mm.
As far as I'm aware, it hadn't happened yet. So what is going on? Is it just a one-time thing? I know. I imagine we were going to get Josh Alexander versus Christopher Daniels. I imagine that match was going to happen, but then, like I said, the Forbidden Door seemed to be just slammed shut in Impact's face. Daniels had gone, nothing came of it. And now Kazarian's suddenly back in Impact. I'm curious, but I'm very excited to see it. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be a hell of a match. I think we're going to see Kazarian through the Kissimmee tapings, and that's it. It would be so cool to see Daniels come back and finish that storyline he started last year before Bound for Glory. I think did he have one match when he came back against Madman Fulton, and then nothing. I firmly thought he'd be at Bound for Glory at least to do like the gauntlet, the Cordia shot gauntlet or something.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
Yeah, but considering Christopher Daniels, he's got such a history with TNA, it would be very, very fitting and awesome to see him rock up at least for either for Slammiversary or, you know, the tapings before.
Yeah, I mean, my brain just went to Motor City Machine Guns versus Bad Influence. My mind just went there. I don't know why, but I mean,
considering Sabin's wrestling Kazarian, it's very possible.
Yeah, if Shady loses, maybe, but obviously, again, no inside information here. It's purely just my teenage brain going, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Yeah. It's just like having Lisa Marie, Tara, SoCal Val, and Tracy Brooks at ringside for alternative commentary on Slammiversary.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Get them over for it, but again, no idea. I wish. I'm putting it out there, wishing it into existence, but I have to wait to see what happens at Slammiversary. But besides that, Chelsea Green and Jordan Grace should be good. Jordan Grace is great. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of Chelsea Green, but she's a good competitor. So I'll watch this match of interest and just hope Jordan Grace beats her.
Yeah.
I think
Jordan's very, very capable of carrying Chelsea to an excellent match.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's incredible. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Rich Swann and Matt Cardona. I know at Wrestling Revolver in a couple weeks' time, it's Matt Cardona versus Rich Swann for the Digital Media Championship. But whether that carries on to TV, I haven't got a clue. I don't know how it's going to work out. But I imagine we'll get that at Slammiversary as well. I think I think that'll be a match we get at Slammiversary with Rich winning.
And then Cardona going off into the sunset.
Perhaps Myers doesn't Myers doesn't seem to be around anymore. So who knows? Maybe if Chelsea does lose, I think Chelsea's the only one who actually signed a permanent contract, as far as I'm aware. So we'll see what happens with that. But now that's Impact for this week. Check out Impact Access TV or Ultimate Insiders if you're an Ultimate Insider for 99p, 99 cents, wherever you are in the world. Impact is becoming can't miss. And on the road to Slammiversary, we're getting some absolute banging matches and banging weekly shows. He said weekly podcasts, then weekly shows. This is a weekly podcast about Impact Wrestling, but weekly shows we talk about. Just enjoy it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're actually on time, so let's take it over now to that final 10. And so obviously we talk about quite a lot about different things. We talk about going to local independent wrestling, and of course we cover the TV stuff over here and whatever's going on in the world of wrestling. We want to take a look at some of the differences as in terms of attending and watching shows from local shows from smaller intimate venues, like often nightclubs or sports halls, wherever it may be, compared to the stuff we see on TV on a weekly basis from the likes of AEW and WWE in those big venues and thousands of people watching. What would you say is the major difference apart from obviously the size of the venue?
So local independent wrestling is far more interactive, crowd interactive. The wrestlers are able to interact with the crowd, not just in their matches, but at the merch stand, you can literally, as a wrestler, you can meet every single fan in attendance at a local intimate wrestling show. And because it's so interactive, I've noticed the crowd enjoys it and gets more into it than they would, sitting in the cheap seats at WWE at the O2, for example.
Yeah.
Although I would never discourage anyone from going to see WWE. I mean, I've done 2 WrestleManias and had a great time. Nothing beats, a local wrestling show, front row or second row, getting some chants going, and if you're chanting at a villain, getting their instant reaction, like "shut up," there's nothing better. Yeah. Or to get them clapping, get the babyface fired up. Yeah. The reason I brought this topic of conversation up with you earlier is because I was chatting to someone at Pro Wrestling East on Saturday, a guy called Eric, who I'd never met before, but he is a friend of Jack Nichols, member of the Clef movement. And it was Eric's first ever experience of live wrestling. And he was instantly made a fan through the show that Pro Wrestling East put on. Hell of a show, by the way. I'm sure the matches will be released on YouTube. Just follow them on Twitter to get updates at Pro Wrestling East. But yeah, because of the interactive nature of it, the fact that he got to meet a load of the wrestlers in the interval, got chatting to Truman Roswell, previously mentioned. He's been messaging me like how awesome the show was. He's going to do some artwork for me free of charge. He's a fantastic artist. I've seen some of his work, so I can get some more merch, which I'm sure I'll plug on here when that's ready. But yeah, that's the big difference between going to WWE or watching AEW on television, because if you watch SmackDown or Rampage or any of the the big TV shows, they're very cookie cutter. Like an episode of Rampage, for example, the show's going to start, the bell's going to ring, no entrances, you're going to get action in that first 2 segments. Then you're going to have a promo, a squash match kinda in the middle, a couple of promos, Mark Henry saying it's time for the main event, and you're going to get a hell of a main event at the end. But it's the same every week. You can't differentiate from week to week, it feels like. Whereas a local wrestling show, you're going to get something different every time. You're going to get different characters, different styles of wrestling. I always say a wrestling show is like a roller coaster. Bring them up, bring them down, bring them up, bring them down.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that just keeps the crowd hot throughout. You don't burn them, you don't get them burn out. So you bring them down, and you bring them up at the right times, and you pace your shows like that. That's very important. But yeah, it's just about the interaction for the crowd. And if you're watching this and you've never been to a live wrestling show, all you've done is watch on television, get your ass to a local show, support local British or American or wherever you're from, support local independent wrestling.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you will leave a fan of the promotion, certain wrestlers, and you'll be buying your tickets to the next one.
I'm completely with you on that. Just from a fan's perspective, can't even say it. The first ever show I went to was in 2018. It was Impact versus the UK, and it was the opening match was Robbie X and Adam Maxted versus Adam McCluskey, and I forget the other person's name now. But I only knew them. Well, I knew Robbie X and Adam Maxted from when WWS came back. Because then
Was he on Love Island?
Adam Maxted.
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, I heard he might have been. Yeah.
Not that I would ever watch that.
Nah.
Justice for Liberty.
Never watched it. Never will.
Right.
Never ever have I watched that.
Okay. All right.
I never fucking will. I obviously you can't help but know what's going on in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then that got me hooked on being in a crowd and watching it. Then I went to Pro Wrestling Live in a little town in the UK called Darlaston in the Black Country, but on that show, Bram was on it. Okay, cool. Go see Bram. Go meet Bram. Then I got to know some of the wrestlers on there. Then I eventually went to Kamikaze. But again, for me, it had to have been, there's a draw on this card. It was for my first Kamikaze show. Main event was Jody Fleisch versus Drago in a Lucha Libre rules match.
Oh yeah.
Fucking phenomenal. And in between that, you had Giselle Shaw, who I recognise from Impact, against Zaya Brookside in a last woman standing match. You had Force Count Anywhere between Joe Janela and Chantal Jordan, which I mentioned before. And that made me a fan of Chantal Jordan, kept going to the shows. And now people at Kamikaze, like the people who work in the bar or selling the merch for the company, they recognize me now, and it's very, very surreal. Like the fact that people working for the company know who you are when you walk in, and you're not on the card, you're just a fan going. It's a very, very cool feeling. Because I'm all for. I've never been to a WWE event. I've never been to an event in an arena. But for me, like obviously WrestleMania is obviously, of course, it's something I have to do. It's something every wrestling fan has to do at some point. and I will be doing it at WrestleMania 40. Like I'll be going to WrestleMania 40. But sitting in the nosebleeds, I'm not looking forward to it. Because I know it's where I'm going to end up. I just know it. And I remember, I think it was the Citrus Bowl in Orlando. The seats were on a vertical angle. Like, it terrifies the crap out of me being up that high.
Oh, the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. There's no gap in between the seats, and if you fall over, you are taking a row of people or a column of people out.
Yeah.
That is terrifying.
I mean, at least the Barclays Center has a roof. The Citrus Bowl didn't. Like, if they end up going there, you lean back too far. You're off the top of the freaking stadium. It's that high. Like, what? So that's something that just completely terrifies me. And I'm not a fan of watching it. I don't want to pay thousands of pounds to watch it on a screen. That's my other thing.
Yeah,
like I could sit at home and watch it on a screen. Obviously, you won't get the same atmosphere, but at least there's less chance of you falling to your death from like 5,000 seats up. No, it ain't happening.
Yeah,
So,
I totally see your point. I will mention that myself and Kaylee were at in East Rutherford, New Jersey. What's the name? The MetLife Stadium, just on the border of New York, New Jersey, for WrestleMania 35, and we had seats which were directly diagonal from the ring, which means one of the support girders was right in the middle of the ring. So if my face right now is the ring, that's what we saw.
Yeah.
We could see the two turnbuckles. So we had to watch the show from the screens. And then in the AJ Styles and Randy Orton match, a row of lights were directly. I don't. Did you see this reported? Because a lot of people ticked off about it. Directly in our eyes. So lots of chants of turn the lights off, and then when they finally went, well, you could just hear the crowd go, "Hey!" Luckily on that show, Seth Rollins defeated Brock Lesnar, Kofi Kingston defeated Daniel Bryan, and Becky Lynch won the three-way for the two titles. Yeah. So the three biggest baby faces on the roster won their world titles. So the atmosphere was awesome for that show. In the Citrus Bowl 2 years previously, we had a similar view, but the girder was sort of there, so you couldn't see one of the turnbuckles. Again, you had to watch a lot of it from the screen just to be able to see what was going on. But that's when the Hardys came back. You had Brock and Goldberg, which was, beyond what anyone ever expected. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so many other cool moments on that show, and it's the people we weren't with, but the people that were sat around us were just so into it, and it's just an awesome experience going to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So don't let that put you off.
No, that is the flip side of it, is that you experiencing it all in person. You can feel everything going on. You can hear it. You can't always see it, but WrestleMania is a whole experience. I mean, we're gonna be booking for WrestleCarnival, and you get. So they sort out the flights, thankfully, in the hotel and all that, and they also provide a party bus from the hotel to the arena. You get there for the tailgate party beforehand, and then you get to the whole thing. You get Raw and SmackDown the night after the Hall of Fame. So WrestleMania is an experience. I get that.
Yeah,
but I think that'll be the one I go to. I won't go to a live. I've been tempted to go to SmackDown taping before, but that's the thing. It's always a taping when they come over here because obviously the time difference. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the issues with the Principality Stadium, the former Millennium Stadium in Wales, Cardiff, for the Clash at the Castle.
No,
I've been to that stadium. and from like, but there's quite a low ceiling from like the third row up, so you can't see the full pitch. It's quite a low like concrete ceiling with this stands above you.
Right.
It's not ideal, and people are paying about, what's the going rate for those tickets? I haven't checked.
Oh, they've gone right down.
Yeah,
They've shot down. Yeah.
Is that something? But people were paying at the time about $2,000. That's for like a basic ticket.
But yeah,
So
nosebleeds you're looking at 350 when they first went on sale.
Yeah, from where that was, like, because it's close to the pitch, but it's not like right in front of the pitch. But you're basically behind one of the posts in the rugby ground.
Mm.
So it's not ideal. That's why I prefer intimate venues, because it's actually reminded me a few years ago. It wasn't when I was Mr. Impact Craig, but it was when I was on Twitter. I had a bit of a disagreement with Jim Cornette, and he ended up. I didn't intend for him to get involved. Someone snitch tagged him.
Okay.
And it was an Impact had a show with Wrestling Revolver in the style of venue Wrestling Revolver run. It's always very intimate, very maybe 300 people if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
In these tiny venues, basically look like a shed. And I said I'd much rather be in that venue than in an arena half empty. Then he told me that's the stupidest comment of the week.
Do it in his voice.
I don't even want to.
This stupid motherfucker.
You get stupidest, most stupid comment he's ever heard. And I wore that like a badge of honor. The fact I pissed off Jim Cornette that much, he wasn't even in the conversation, but some twat tagged him. For him to find that tweet or read that tweet and then respond to me, I wore it like a fucking badge of honor, because I pissed off Jim Cornette that much. That is, I was a nobody. I think at that point I had like 200 followers, and that's being generous. So, but I wore it like a badge of honor, because and my point still stands. I'd much rather be in that venue with 30 rowdy people around me than in a venue surrounded by 1,000 people, but the venue's pretty much empty.
Mm.
Which, in the early days of AEW, that was the case.
Yeah,
it still is in WWE for us the case. It has Impact. Half the venue was empty for Lockdown 2014. Jeff Hardy was Bully Ray. I think they didn't show half the building because it was empty.
Mm.
So I think,
was that when they were at the Alamo Dome?
Yeah. Even though that today is still Impact's highest ever attendance, but I'm pretty sure most of that was empty.
Well, yeah, because it's a stadium. It's like 60,000 or something capacity, maybe 50,000. They crammed 10,000 in there, but they crammed them into certain sections to make it look good. But every wrestling company does that. There's SmackDown tapings where half of the building is totally empty. Yeah, that's not just a problem with Impact or any specific company. That's every company.
Yeah, no, I know. And being in a crowd, of just being as for this Kamikaze, I went to the last show. It was one of the loudest crowds I've ever been a part of. Louder than the Impact crowd, and it was an incredible atmosphere. When Charlie Morgan did a moonsault off the balcony, people popped like mad. It was trying to start a holy shit chant, but it didn't quite pick up. But it was still I don't like the chant anyway. But I mean, it still popped huge, and it had about maybe 200 people chanting BDSM. We never get on TV. Yeah, it was Charles Crowley and Clementine as well.
Clementine, yeah.
She was a surprise partner. So it had You would never get that on TV. You'd never let that pass.
Mm.
So it's just, I completely agree in the fact that, of course, if you want to be part of that huge arena, it looks incredible. When it's sold out and people are just holding signs up, it looks insane. But being in a nightclub or whatever it may be, surrounded by people who aren't necessarily casual wrestling fans, you can really get into it because you know you're all there for the same reason, because you love independent wrestling.
Exactly.
And there's nothing like that anywhere. So you have football stadiums. You have of course, you have smaller football stadiums. Like I go to Kidderminster Harriers quite a bit, and the capacity is about 7,000. I've never been in there more than 5,000.
Mm.
But it's still a better atmosphere than, say, Anfield or Stamford Bridge, where there's thousands of people there, but it can get a bit quiet.
Yeah, Carrow Road is the same. Norwich City. I sat in the away section for Norwich versus Wolves, and 26,000 Canaries sat on their hands for 90 minutes, where the Wolves section was rowdy as anything.
Wolves are a great fan base. I'll give them that. Start the matches, they're great. But yeah, so just, I get everyone's got personal preference, but if you haven't been to a more intimate wrestling show, local independent wrestling show, go, because when that crowd gets into it, they get into it, and just enjoy it for what it is. But with that, it's supposed to be the final 10. We went for final 20. But with that, we'll wrap it up and we'll call it a pod. Of course, you can go check out everything with the GoGoPowerRankings with Tia and Bert. You can check out the Mothership, Max and Jeff, every single Sunday at 1 a.m. UK time, 8 p.m. US time. You can go check out the latest episode of TBN Chats with Simon Hill. A fun chat, talk about everything from the transition to radio to esports to pro wrestling to getting in the ring to traveling, everything. So go check that out, and every other TBN Chats before that. Go check out everything. Yes, Aloe Train. If you didn't see that, Aloe Train with Jeff, Lucha, and Johnny. I almost forget a name every time. Go check that out. Go check out everything we're doing. It's fun times. A lot of nonsense coming. A lot of nonsense going to happen. But until next time, been the MIC.
One last thing, Craig.
All right, Ed.
I got it.
Way huge part.
My Bound for Glory DVD collection is complete. It was an expensive purchase, but yeah, it was worth it. And yeah, I'll tweet a picture of the whole collection at some point. But yeah, I'm proper chuffed. Finally found it.
It has arrived. And on that note, I've been the MIC. He's been Nixon. I will continue to be Nixon. Until next time, goodbye, my friend.